Hi folks, Dino Bob here, back in Vembre Park. And we got a little bit longer one today because it's a big animal and a big exhibit. And took quite a while to do it, and I managed to get a video of some of the chunks of it. So we're going to start out where we sort of left off last time at the Tarbosaurus exhibit. Yes, we get a little roar to welcome us. And we're going to head toward where the new exhibit is. We're going to move down past the large restaurant slash viewing platform that you saw in the last video and turn to the right to a new plaza. And as we get in there, you'll see the little planter there with the welcome to the Cretaceous period. And this will be our first animal in this park for that period in North America. And if you know your animals, you will know what region of North America we're going to be doing as soon as you see them, if you didn't already figure that out from the title card. Anyway, we have a statue to be a photo opportunity for our guests, overhead viewing screen of what animals inside this platform. The platform is repurposed from our Jurassic platform as part of theming the park more closely as the North American portion of the park. You can see a standoff rail there to keep the edmontosaurs from sticking their head into the viewing platform, and also to provide an area where something our guests might try to throw to the animals will likely land and not screw up their diet. So a little bit of watching our edmontosaurs wander around. That rocky area in the center of the screen is a step down from where their water is. You'll see that more clearly in some of the videos of the animals moving around later, and also in an aerial view. So you get an overview of how the habitat is laid out. So after this little bit of viewing platform viewing, we're going to, well, that was weird. I don't think I've seen one do that before. Anyway, we're going to start heading out of this viewing platform. And while we do that, this is kind of the starting layout of the habitat. You also see habitat markers for several more to cover the whole region that I'm building here. And this is for the Hell Creek Formation. You can see I'm building drop-offs. The idea that I've got in mind there, you saw two of the other animals from Hell Creek up here on screen. The idea is that there will eventually be a safari ride kind of thing that goes through the herbivore enclosures, and they are set up so that you should have a fence-free view of the predator exhibit, and the predator from its enclosure will be able to see the animals in the other enclosures and get the little bit of enrichment from that. Not that the game will necessarily acknowledge that. It's something zoos like to do for lions particularly, and we're doing that here for the apex predator of this region. So a lot of work getting the ground to play nice with this plan, and eventually there will be rocks laid in and stuff to conceal a lot of that, so it looks a little bit more natural. But with this video going at high speed, you get a good sense of how long it's going to take to manage something like this. And from that image that just passed away, you got a sense of how, from a lower perspective, these will look nearly seamless. And that's the idea. So each of the corners, I'm working rock structures as much to help me out as I build these exhibits, to keep track of where they are when I don't have some tool enabled that shows the habitat markers. You can see a lot of fussing to get the fences to join up so that I will still have functional habitats, particularly in those drop-off areas. It can be very fussy. So, like I said, lots of time here. The next video for Vembre Park will also be the next animal for this area, and it is another extensive build because I will be building the implied safari ride structure, as well as a major care facility and viewing platform. So another big long one. We're putting annectens, Edmontosaurus annectens, into this habitat. I just checked it for its foliage requirements and made sure the water was right. You saw that when the nursery screen came up, and now I'm putting in suitable foliage and also throwing a few ahead into the other habitats to give a little more sense of expansiveness for when you look beyond the boundaries of this particular habitat. Right now, that will all change as I get into those other habitats. I'm trying to get a lot of the foliage placement as good as possible just with the brush, but as always, I'll have to go back in and do some tweaks because it throws things sometimes in weird places, like throwing your bamboo in the water. You have to pull it out and put it somewhere else. And then also there are the tweaks to get aesthetics correct, like view lines. Anyway, we're back to a little bit faster than normal speed as we come out of this viewing platform, and we're going to go around to the secondary viewing area for this Edmontosaurus paddock, coming down this road, which is going to need some more landscaping. This is just the rough stuff, and up to this rock and around it to this little offshoot of the path, and we're going to the duckbill blind, and now we're in the speed build for that. You can already see some rocks in place as I put additional ones in and work to make them all blend together well. I'm not a big fan of taking the same kind of rocks and changing their colors slightly. That doesn't feel like most of the time it's successful at creating a real geological look to things. It may be a little more boring, you can hear the quotation marks there, I think, to have them all be the same color. But if it's a rock formation, rock formations tend to be all of the same color, except in sedimentary ones where the different sedimentary layers have their own characters. And that's not something we can portray terribly well with the rocks we have right now. So anyway, using paths to set up the area where our guests will be in this covered area, and then a little bit of rock work for character pieces. I'm going to put glass in where the habitat marker is, having replaced it with the low stone wall there, since Edmontosaurus allegedly can be held in by a 1 meter fence. I doubt that would work in reality because these are very long-legged animals, and they ought to be able to step over such things. And even though I'm using that fence, it's mostly to make sure that some of the correct game rating fence is in place. I'm covering it with rocks to conceal it and working on making this little shadowed overlook someplace that will discourage the animals from trying to go there, but give guests a place to feel like they're in the habitat, and just to increase their immersion in this park. So there will be a couple of platforms in there. Sorry, not platforms. Good grief. A couple of info screens, and I think I put a viewing binoculars in there. But I guess if you hang around through this video, you'll see. So a lot of fussing getting the rocks to sort of blend together well, and also to mate and frame the scene for the guests from that viewing area, and then to make this kind of a private area, putting in vegetation to act like a barrier to guide guests and such. Sure, people could plow through those bushes, but most guests won't. And just a little bit of atmosphere for the duckbill blind. So let's go into the blind. We'll take this path, which is the smoother one. You see the little bench there ahead of us, and there's one of the viewing screens. I don't see that I did put in the binoculars, but I was thinking about it. I did put in the don't tap on the glass signs. So it's a pretty decent view. We've got an Edmontosaurus out there in the trees. Maybe he'll come this way. There does seem to be a tendency for animals to move into view of the camera if you sit around long enough. They seem to have an attraction to it, which is kind of useful. You can see there's a frozen block of fruit out there, as intended to be a draw to bring animals out here for our guests to see them through this this media. So this guy's coming up, and he's gonna ignore the fruit block apparently, but here comes another one. Or is he just turning around to chomp on it? Moving up to it? Yeah, he's gonna chomp on it. And another one moving into screen, even though it's not necessarily going. I don't really know if that's something that's coded into them, but it happens often enough to make me suspicious that there's some kind of feature that when they choose a random wander, it may send them toward where the camera can see it. Because there's a third one out there in the distance. So I believe I have 10 of them in here, which according to the original species cards would be a minimum herd for this animal. One male and the rest females. And it helps them fill up the habitat so that there's, pretty much when you look in any particular place, you'll get to see some action in the exhibit. So we're getting, I think, to the aerial. Yeah. And so this is the overall layout. You can see rocks to the right, which is the drop off to the predator's habitat. You can see the foliage has been adjusted. It's going to get adjusted again before during the next video, because that rock line you saw in the far distance of the exhibit is going to be where their care building is going to be. So we're going to close today with some shots of our animals in the habitat doing their animal things, and I'll be back in 2 weeks with another Vembre video, and at least that's a plan. And next week will be another Lost Kingdom as we add another animal to that park. I hope you've enjoyed spending some time here today, and that you'll like the video, subscribe so you get to see more, and leave a comment. I'm still waiting to get some feedback of what people might like to see, or where they might like to see things go, what animals they might like to see. Ask questions. Give me a noise. There you go. bye-bye now. This is Dino Bob signing off. You all take care and be kind to each other. Be seeing you again soon, I hope.